So I'm working on a project called Briefcase. Those of you who were here last week, you saw a small part of it. What Briefcase is Briefcase is an online document editor. If you can't imagine what that is, it's similar to Google Docs. You log onto a website and you're able to edit files like spreadsheets, documents, presentations. Except that unlike most products out there, Briefcase is open source. It's under the BSD license. Anybody can take it, download it, put it on their server, and run it themselves. Or you can put it on your laptop and just run it from there. So right now, there are 3 applications that we're working on, that we're just focusing on to complete. One is the spreadsheet, which we've put the most work into, and it's progressed the farthest. The next one is the code editor, which allows you to type in code and automatically highlights your code, handles indentation, people to edit your code with you. And the last one is a presentation editor, which is, right now, it's based off of the web presentation system called Big. And it just generates HTML files that act as a presentation. So I'll just show you. Yeah, okay. So this looks like it's working. All right, so this is the spreadsheet application. And you can just click on any cell. You can even select multiple cells. Looks like a professional program, doesn't it? All right.
Is this in Google Docs?
This is not Google Docs. I know. I am glad you couldn't tell the difference. And you can type whatever you want in a cell. Hi. You can even type functions. Plus 1 plus 2. And it will give you 3. It can just handle functions in the background. As well as, it's F7. You can also grab data from other cells. And you can just write functions for the spreadsheet in JavaScript in the back end. And it's so easy that we actually had somebody come up and live code a function, Mr. Clapper over here. So we've immortalized him. Forgot an equal sign. Yes. So now he has that function in our library forever and ever and ever. And it's just really easy to use, it's really easy to modify. If you read some of my blog posts, you'll notice that I hate scroll bars. I don't know why they're so hard to use, but anyways. So that's the extent of the demo. The highlighting is green because Google Docs is blue, so I couldn't also be blue. Anyways. All right, so the spreadsheet application, it's in version 2. It had a version 1, which didn't look as good, but had most of the functionality. And right now it has all of the algorithms, it does not have all of the algorithms for handling multiple cells. You cannot select an area of your cell and say, I want to sum everything from A1 to D9, right? It won't do that. It also can't format cells. You can't color your cells, you can't align your cells right. You can't really change the size of your cells. You can hard code the size of your cells, but that doesn't help. But all of the single cell functions are complete. All the basic math libraries have been implemented by other people in RCOS. I actually didn't implement any of them. And most of the user interface is complete. There's a context menu, anything that you would need to just use your spreadsheet, minus those things. All right. So then the code editor. It's in version 1.
Saving and so on, does it work? And multiple things, does it work?
It does not work on multiple editing yet. I didn't include that in the spreadsheet just because it's more of an overall application idea. The idea that you want to be able to edit a document with multiple people at the same time. Uses the same library of committing atomic actions to the server and then reorganizing them. If it causes any changes on the server, you trace back to the changes that it made. It's confusing. If you don't care for it, don't bother. It's just going to be magic in the background. All right, so yeah, the code editor. The code editor is based off of Colin Kugler's syntax highlighter, which takes a text box and highlights it with whatever language you want it to be. So I've then taken that and made a few improvements to it and broken a few other things, but we're not going to talk about those. So right now it can auto-highlight the text for whatever language you want, as long as you provide it with how to highlight the language. It can hit the tab button in the browser a lot of times when you hit the tab button in the browser, like brings you to the URL page, and, like then you start typing and you change the URL. That doesn't do that anymore. It also auto tabs on new lines. It seems like a really simple thing. I thought it was going to be a really simple thing. It wasn't a really simple thing. The bad part about the document is that it tries to highlight the entire document every time you type a letter. So after you get to about 4,000 lines of code, it takes half a second to highlight everything, and you get like a noticeable delay whenever you hit a key. And if you type really fast, like you'll get like a little string of text, and then like the highlight will just like catch up to you. It's really weird. All right, and then the presentation editor is in version 0. It does everything, it doesn't look good, and it doesn't work. It'll take your markdown and it'll turn it into a perfectly formatted big file, but it won't let you edit it or anything like that. It just is 2 text boxes right next to each other with an input and an output. I mean, it works. If I were to make a presentation in it, I wouldn't. Yet. All right. So in the future, I want to add program functionality. I want to add unit testing, and I want to add more documentation because you can never have too much documentation. Okay, you can sometimes have too much documentation, but as long as it's simple, you can never have too much documentation. And if for some reason I've inspired you today to donate your time to me to help work on it, fork it, use it, and then report to me everything that you don't like about it. Because one of the biggest things about software is debugging it. You have to get people to use it in order to break it. And once you break it, then you can fix it. But if it's not broken, it's harder to fix. And if you still want to help, after you've downloaded and started reporting bugs and screaming at me, it's like, Asher, this doesn't work! I can't save my spreadsheet and everything just turned purple. You can then start helping me document it, create CSS templates, because that's the one thing I'm not good at. I'm not good at design. Everything I make is gray, different shades of gray, but it's still gray. It's really bad. I just tell people I'm colorblind, and they pretend to go along with it. You can write more spreadsheet cell functions and code highlighting templates, so we can get more languages than just C, HTML, and JavaScript. We can start getting things like Python, Prolog, other things that are crazy. And my regret so far is that this presentation was not made in Briefcase, it was made in Google Docs. That's going to change. All right, so I'd like to thank Professor Morthy, Sean O'Sullivan, RCOS. Are there any questions? Yes?
Are there any things to create a simple Word editor? Because it seems like if you have a code editor and a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
Word would be simple corollary to that.
Yeah, one of the projects in the future is like what you see is what you get, the WYSIWYG editor. The problem with that right now is that the way different web browsers render things causes a problem. Like Chrome and Firefox may only change by like a couple pixels that could push a line of code onto the next page or a header onto the next page. So what I want to do is I want to make the entire WYSIWYG editor render in the canvas so that no matter what you're using, like 1 pixel is 1 pixel. And to do that, I have to rewrite a whole bunch of things. But the backend functionality, the like exactly what you type and sending it to the server and getting it back on another computer, is the exact same as the code editor. So after the code editor is functional, it shouldn't be more than a few months before like a basic text editor is available. And you can always just use the code editor as like a .txt file and just don't highlight anything. I know I once took a class with a professor who wrote everything up in WordEd, Notepad. And then like, I did not even imagine before then that notes could be taken in such a way. It's so cool. I'd recommend taking his class, any of his classes. All right.
They're required.
Any other questions? Anybody want to help me with my